Some country songs were forgotten because nobody cared about them. Others were forgotten because somebody decided nobody should hear them.
But we couldn't fight back wearing 35 pounds of Blackjack County cheese.
Here are 10 country songs that radio stations, networks, or record executives tried to keep from reaching the audience, and the stories behind what happened next. A DJ who refused to spin the record. A label that shelved a song for years before anyone outside the studio heard it. An artist who fought back in the pages of Billboard magazine and won. Some of these songs became massive hits anyway, despite the resistance. Others quietly disappeared and never quite got their due. All of them tell you something about exactly where the line was drawn and who kept pushing past it regardless. Welcome back to Roots and Rhythms, where the roots run deep. 10. Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs, I'm Gonna Sleep with One Eye Open, 1955.
You've been a-steppin', so they say, 'tween midnight and day.
By 1955, Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs were already among the most respected instrumentalists in country music, pioneers of a fast, intricate banjo and guitar sound that would eventually define bluegrass as its own genre entirely.
All night long, you won't have a chance to treat your daddy wrong.
Admired as much for their musicianship as for anything they sang about. This one wasn't about musicianship. It was about catching someone red-handed.
So I'm gonna sleep with one eye open from now on.
I'm Gonna Sleep with One Eye Open told the story of a man who'd figured out his wife was stepping out on him and made no secret of watching for it to happen again. Delivered with the same wry, unbothered confidence Flatt and Scruggs brought to everything else in their catalog. The frank infidelity storyline was blunt enough for its era that the Grand Ole Opry itself declined to let the duo perform it on their stage, unwilling to have the institution's name attached to a song so directly about a marriage's collapse.
Honey, I got news for you. Your little game is through.
The strange thing is, the band didn't stop the song from spreading. It just meant people learned it from each other instead of the radio, passed along at gatherings, played on jukeboxes, sung from memory by people who'd never actually heard it broadcast.
Where you thought you was being wise and running around with other guys.
Despite the Opry's refusal, the song became a beloved part of Flatt and Scruggs' catalog, helping cement their reputation as musicians willing to sing plainly about the messier parts of married life.
From now on, all night long, you won't.
Even when the genre's most prestigious stage wouldn't let them say it out loud. The Opry wouldn't let them sing it on stage. Everybody at home already knew every word.
So I'm gonna sleep with one eye open from now on.
9. Webb Pierce, There Stands the Glass, 1953. Webb Pierce released There Stands the Glass in 1953, a plain-spoken drinking song about reaching for alcohol to numb heartbreak.
That will hide all my fears. That will drown all.
No shame, no moralizing, no tidy lesson learned by the final verse. Just an honest admission of exactly what the drink in front of him was for.
Brother, I'm on my way.
Some stations decided the honesty itself was the problem. At a time when country radio still largely avoided openly glorifying drinking, several stations blacklisted the song outright.
I'm wondering where you are tonight. I'm wondering.
Uncomfortable with its total lack of judgment toward the narrator's choice to keep reaching for the glass rather than working through the grief underneath it. Programmers worried the song romanticized exactly the kind of behavior they didn't want associated with their airwaves.
I'm wondering if you are alright. I wonder if.
The band didn't slow it down in the slightest. There Stands the Glass spent 12 weeks at #1 anyway, proving conclusively that audiences didn't need permission from radio to relate to a feeling the industry found uncomfortable to broadcast.
I wonder if you think of me in my.
It remains one of the most enduring honky-tonk drinking songs ever recorded, still played and covered decades later. There Stands the Glass helped open the door for generations of country songwriting that would go on to treat drinking, and the grief behind it, as simply part of being human, rather than something requiring an apology.
There stands the glass.
Radio thought the honesty was the problem. Listeners thought it was the whole point.
It's my first one to take.
Tanya Tucker, Would You Lay With Me in a Field of Stone, 1973.
Would you lay with me in a field of...
David Allan Coe wrote, Would You Lay With Me in a Field of Stone as a tender, plainly worded love song. Lines about longing and physical closeness that, read on the page, weren't especially shocking by the standards of country songwriting at the time.
Should my lips grow dry, would you wet them?
Plenty of adult artists had recorded similar material without incident. The words weren't the issue. The singer was. The song became genuinely uncomfortable for the industry for one specific reason. Tanya Tucker, the artist who recorded and charted it, was only 15 years old when it was released.
Would you go away to another land?
Coverage and commentary at the time, and in retrospective accounts since, describe real discomfort among radio programmers and industry figures about a teenager singing so openly about adult desire, with the song frequently listed among country music's notable radio-restricted records, specifically because of that age gap rather than the lyrics themselves.
Walk 1,000 miles through the burning sand.
Despite the unease, the song still became Tucker's third #1 hit, launching her further into a career that would repeatedly test exactly how much creative freedom a teenage star was permitted over material that far outpaced her age.
Have I give myself to you?
That tension between Tucker's genuine talent and the discomfort surrounding what she was allowed to sing would follow her for years afterward. Nobody thought the lyrics were the problem until they remembered exactly how young the voice singing them actually was.
Would you lay with me in a field of...
7. Loretta Lynn, Wings Upon Your Horns, 1969.
Before you first made love to me, you
Recorded the same day as Coal Miner's Daughter at Bradley's Barn in Mount Juliet, Tennessee.
with your sweet, smooth talking ways.
Wings Upon Your Horns told the story of a woman smooth-talked into losing her virginity by a man who left immediately afterward.
The night I let you hang my wings up on your...
It never became one of Lynn's famous songs the way that session's other recording did, despite being written and cut in the same handful of hours.
But there's a little thing called love, and that's what...
It wasn't the story that got the song restricted. It was the imagery Lynn used to tell it. Lynn wrote the song using explicitly religious language, halos, wings, thorns, to describe both the seduction and its emotional aftermath.
And turn me to a woman I can't stand.
Lynn herself later discussed the friction the song caused with radio programmers over that imagery, describing pushback from DJs uncomfortable mixing that kind of spiritual language with a story about premarital sex.
You hung my wings up on your horns and turned my...
That combination proved more than several markets were willing to broadcast, and the record was pulled from airplay in a number of them.
You're the first to ever make me fall in love.
Have you ever discovered a deep cut from an artist you thought you already knew everything about? Despite the pushback, Wings Upon Your Horns still reached number 11 on the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart.
And turn my halo into thorns.
Respectable success for a song that history quietly filed away and mostly forgot, overshadowed by the more famous recording made in that same Bradley's Barn session. It wasn't her boldest subject, it was her boldest choice of words, and country radio noticed the words first.
The night I let you hang my wings up on your...
6. Merle Haggard, Irma Jackson, written 1969, released 1972.
I'd love to shout my feelings from a mountain high.
After Okie from Muskogee made him a household name and a symbol of a particular kind of American patriotism, Merle Haggard planned to follow it with something almost entirely different.
Tell the world I love her, and I will till I die.
Irma Jackson, a tender, sympathetic song about an interracial relationship and the real prejudice standing in its way.
That's why Irma Jackson can't be mine. I remember
This song wasn't banned after release. It was buried before anyone outside the studio got the chance to hear it.
if my loving Irma Jackson is a sin.
Haggard's label, Capitol Records, grew nervous about releasing a song centered on interracial romance during a racially tense period in American history, and pushed him toward the safer, more commercially predictable The Fight Inside of Me instead.
She tells me she's decided that she'll go away. And
A song that became one of his biggest hits, and cemented an image of Haggard that Irma Jackson would have directly complicated. Irma Jackson sat shelved for nearly 3 years. It finally surfaced only as an album cut in 1972.
But in spite of her decision forcing us to say goodbye,
Never released as its own single, never given the promotional push Okie from Muskogee had received, and largely unknown even among longtime Haggard fans today.
if my loving Irma Jackson is a sin.
Nashville was ready for him to defend the country. It wasn't ready for him to defend a love story his own label found too risky to sell.
But I'll love Irma Jackson till I die.
5 songs down, and one thing is already clear. These weren't records that got held back because they were bad. They got held back because somebody, somewhere, decided the truth inside them was too uncomfortable to broadcast. But resistance took different shapes across these stories. Some songs faced a handful of stations quietly declining to add them. Others faced something closer to outright institutional refusal. The final 5 songs ahead may be the most surprising of the entire list, including 2 massive hits that almost never made it to air, and one artist who took the fight directly to the industry in print, and won. If you're enjoying this one, hit subscribe. Let's finish this.
But I'll love Irma Jackson till I die.
5. Charlie Rich, Behind Closed Doors, 1973.
My baby makes me proud. Lord, don't she make
Charlie Rich had spent nearly 2 decades bouncing between genres without a defining hit. Rockabilly sessions at Sun Records, blues-inflected soul, and country material that never quite caught fire the way it seemed like it should have.
She never makes a scene by hanging all over me.
By the early 1970s, he was still respected among fellow musicians, but largely unknown to the wider country audience.
'Cause people like to talk. Lord, don't they love?
Behind Closed Doors changed that almost overnight. The song was a smooth, intimate ballad about a marriage's private tenderness, the kind of quiet devotion nobody outside the relationship gets to see.
And when we get behind closed doors,
It wasn't explicit by any modern standard, but its suggestive chorus, and a second verse that leaned further into the song's central mystery, were racy enough for 1973 country radio that a number of DJs and station managers initially balked at playing it.
when she lets her hair hang down.
Some programmers decided the implication itself was the problem. Several stations declined to add the song to rotation at first, worried it would draw listener complaints. The hesitation didn't last.
Oh, no one knows what goes on behind.
Behind Closed Doors spent 2 weeks at #1 on the country charts, crossed over onto pop radio, and swept the 1974 CMA Awards, winning both Song of the Year and Male Vocalist of the Year for Rich.
She's never far away or too tired to say.
It later entered the Grammy Hall of Fame and remains one of the most recognizable country recordings of the entire decade. It's the song that finally made Charlie Rich a star, and one of the clearest examples of a hit succeeding in spite of the very resistance that nearly kept it off the air in the first place.
'Cause when we get behind closed doors,
Radio worried the implication was too suggestive to broadcast. Audiences decided the implication was exactly the point.
behind closed doors.
4. Conway Twitty. You've Never Been This Far Before, 1973.
I can almost hear the stillness as it yields.
By 1973, Conway Twitty had already built a substantial career as one of country music's most reliable hitmakers.
I can almost hear the echo of the thoughts.
You've Never Been This Far Before pushed that reputation somewhere country radio hadn't fully gone before. A song that addressed physical intimacy directly, without leaning on the genre's usual romantic metaphor to soften it.
I can feel your body tremble as you wonder.
Several stations decided directness itself crossed a line. By most accounts, the song handled its subject with genuine tenderness rather than crudeness.
I don't know what I'm saying as my trembling.
That didn't stop a meaningful number of radio programmers from refusing to add it to their playlists when it was first released, uneasy with just how plainly Twitty sang about the moment being described.
I don't know and I don't care what made you tell.
This wasn't a single, isolated network ban. It was a pattern of individual stations quietly declining to play the record, station by station, rather than one coordinated blackout. The resistance did nothing to slow the song's momentum.
And as I taste your tender kisses, I can.
You've Never Been This Far Before became Twitty's only country single to also crack the pop top 40 and top the country charts in both the United States and Canada. Proof that the stations holding back represented a vocal minority, not the broader listening public.
And as I take the love you're giving, I can feel.
Decades later, it remains one of Twitty's most enduring recordings, still cited as a defining example of just how far country radio was willing to stretch its comfort zone once listeners made the decision for themselves.
And you're wondering if tomorrow I'll still love you.
Some stations decided it went too far. Everyone who heard it anyway decided it went exactly far enough.
Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum.
3. Jeannie C. Riley, Harper Valley PTA, 1968.
I wanna tell you all a story about a Harper Valley widowed wife.
Jeannie C. Riley was working as a secretary in Nashville, largely unknown outside a small circle of songwriters, when she recorded Harper Valley PTA, the story of a widow standing up at a school board meeting to publicly expose the hypocrisy of the very people criticizing her for how she lived her life.
Who had a teenage daughter who attended Harper Valley Junior High.
Country music elder statesman Tex Ritter reportedly described the song as dirty and suggestive.
It's reported you've been drinking and running round with men and going wild.
And by some accounts, a number of individual radio stations declined to add it to their playlists, uneasy with its frank references to social drinking and a widow's romantic independence.
And it was signed by the secretary, Harper Valley PT.
The resistance barely registered against the song's overwhelming momentum. It became the first single in Billboard history to top both the country and pop charts simultaneously, sold over 6 million copies, and won Riley a Grammy for Best Female Country Vocal Performance.
And as she walked up to the blackboard, I can still recall the words she had to say.
Riley herself has spoken about the friction the song caused within more conservative corners of the industry, even as the broader public embraced it almost instantly. It remains one of the most commercially dominant country singles ever released.
Well, this is just a little Peyton place, and you're all Harper Valley hypocrites.
A reminder that the songs some programmers found most objectionable were often the ones audiences were most eager to hear. Some stations decided the story was too scandalous to broadcast. The rest of the country decided it was too good not to.
The day my mama socked it to the Harper Valley PTA.
2. Willie Nelson, Blackjack County Chain, 1967.
I was sitting beside the road in Blackjack County.
Songwriter Red Lane originally pitched Blackjack County Chain to Charlie Pride, who turned it down, worried the subject matter would bring exactly the kind of controversy he was trying to avoid early in his career.
So he locked my leg to 35 pounds of Blackjack County chain.
As country music's first major black star, navigating an industry watching his every move, Lane took the song to his friend Willie Nelson instead, still years away from the outlaw country stardom that would eventually define him.
And all we had to eat was bread and water.
The song depicted a Georgia chain gang murdering the sheriff who'd enslaved them under brutal conditions. Graphic, violent, and recounted matter-of-factly by one of the men who did it, with no clean moral resolution offered by the song's end.
But we couldn't fight back wearing 35 pounds of Blackjack County chain.
RCA believed in the record enough to produce it with Chet Atkins and promote it with a full-page Billboard advertisement predicting it would climb all the way to #1.
And then one night while the sheriff was a-sleepin',
it never got the chance. Nelson's recording climbed only to #21 before radio stations, uneasy with its violent content, pulled it from rotation entirely, cutting its momentum off before it could build any further.
heaven help me to forget that night in the cold, cold rain.
Willie Nelson would later re-record the song as a duet with Waylon Jennings in 1983, decades after its original suppression had quietly buried it.
When we beat him to death with the 35 pounds of Blackjack County chain.
Most casual country fans today have never heard either version. A songwriter offered it to a rising star who said no. The star who said yes still couldn't get it played.
Blackjack County chain. Blackjack County chain.
1. Johnny Cash, The Ballad of Ira Hayes, 1964.
From the tribe of the Pima Indian, a proud and peaceful band who farmed the...
Johnny Cash released The Ballad of Ira Hayes as the sole single from Bitter Tears, a full concept album about the mistreatment of Native Americans.
Now Ira's folks were hungry, and their land grew crops of weeds. But when...
Dedicated in part to what Cash then sincerely believed was his own partial Cherokee ancestry.
All him drunken Ira Hayes, he won't answer anymore. Not the whiskey...
It was, by any measure, a significant commercial risk for an artist coming off the massive crossover success of Ring of Fire just 1 year earlier.
There they battled up Iwo Jima's hill, 250 men.
The song told the true story of Ira Hayes, a Pima Marine who helped raise the American flag at Iwo Jima and returned home afterward to face poverty, alcoholism, and neglect from the same country he'd fought for.
And when Old Glory raised, among the men to hold it high was the Indian.
Many country radio stations refused to play it, uneasy with its unflinching account of exactly how America had treated one of its own war heroes once the cameras stopped rolling.
Ira Hayes returned the hero, celebrated through the land. He was one.
Cash didn't take the silence quietly. He took out a full-page advertisement in Billboard magazine, addressing the DJs and station owners who'd refused to program the record directly. DJs, station managers, owners, etc., where are your guts? He wrote, calling their refusal gutless in print, for the entire industry to read.
And then Ira started drinking hard. Jail was often his home. There they'd let him raise a...
The gamble worked. The Ballad of Ira Hayes climbed to #3 on the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart, and by most accounts, country radio never tried to silence Johnny Cash quite that openly again.
All him drunken Ira Hayes, he won't answer anymore. Not the whiskey.
They tried to keep the song off the air. He put the fight itself on the front page instead, and country radio blinked first.
And his ghost is lying thirsty in the ditch where Ira died.
10 songs, 10 different kinds of resistance, a nervous DJ, a cautious label, an institution unwilling to say the quiet part out loud. Some of these records became massive hits despite it. Others got quietly buried and mostly stayed that way. So, here's a question worth sitting with. Which of these songs do you think deserve to be heard more than it actually was? Like, subscribe, and join us for the next story. This is Roots and Rhythms, where the roots run deep.
But we couldn't fight back wearing 35 pounds of Blackjack County chain.